I made notes because I don't have a glass of wine with me. My name is Aimee Johnson, and I graduated from Maryland in 1990. I actually was not a student of Mike's. I was a student of Dan Rudolph's. But I like to think of Mike as my advisor away from advisor, because soon after becoming Dan's student, Dan left, I think for the whole year. He went to France, and it was up to Mike to pick up the shattered pieces of my life and help me get going on the nitty-gritty details of my dissertation. So I feel like I was like a practice student for him. And if you were going to number his students, I think Dan Run is number 1. I don't know who's number 2. I feel like you're number 2, Nick. I feel like I'm number a half. So, I'm kind of in there. As one of almost a fractional student of Mike's, I can attest to Mike's overwhelming characteristic of how hard he works. And this was apparent to me when I first started being a student in dynamical systems. And I think Mike was still pretty new in the department maybe then. And so the department had this really good idea that Mike should run a seminar in symbolic dynamics, of which he gave all the lectures. It was great. I attended it. And I have reams of papers, of notes from this. And this is really where I learned symbolic dynamics. It was a great seminar. And Mike worked like a dog for it. And as I progressed then in my dissertation work, I will then back up Nick about the wonderful thing about Mike's hardworking habits is that it means no matter what weird time you are at the department and you're working and you're like, oh, what does this mean? I wish I had someone to talk to. You think, Mike, I will go talk to Mike. And it doesn't matter that it's the middle of the night or the weekend. He'd be there except for the mornings, yes. You never found Mike there in the morning. So that was always really, really great. On the flip side, there is the part that then Mike also expects you to be working really hard. So for example, when I was preparing for my oral exam, which was this rite of passage that graduate students had to do in my day, Mike was on my committee. I see him looking up, he's thinking, what oral exam? No, you were on my committee. And he met with me for about a week before the oral exam, and he mentioned to me this list of questions which he might be considering asking me at my oral exam. So I walked out of his office and I thought, oh, holy crap, I have no idea what he's talking about. And I worked like a dog that week so I could be prepared then when I went to my oral exam and Mike then would ask me things. This is maybe now an example of Mike's evil sense of humor, is because in fact he did not ask me anything at my oral exam. But I was ready anyways. Despite that quirky sense of humor, I would have to say another characteristic of Mike's is indeed how gracious and supportive he is. The first outside conference I ever went to was because Mike suggested and encouraged that I go to, and I was, a young student at that point and kind of intimidated. And this was it was an AMS regional meeting up at Newark, and so Mike let me kind of trail along by him and sit with him by dinner, so I could kind of ease my way into the dynamics group and kind of get my feet wet in a nice, easy way. And then in fact, years later, then when I was organizing my own special session in symbolic dynamics, Mike came and he was the perfect audience member. He came to all the talks, he asked questions, he made sure it kind of just went successfully, and I was very, very grateful for that. And of course, all of us who are kind of regulars at this spring dynamics meeting can attest to Mike's hospitality that we received from Mike and Roxanne at their house, and that they've always opened up for us so that we can have a good party before we all get down to the details of dynamics in the coming days. So for those reasons and more, I'd say Mike really has been a model for me of how to be, well, what it means to be a mathematician, to be a mentor, to be an administrator, and just kind of an all-round fun guy. So I'm really lucky that I came across Mike so early in my mathematical career. Happy birthday, Mikey, and I hope you have many, many more.